was, getting into the MBA program way back in 2011, when I joined the induction program, and I was very excited. But at the same time, I had a very tough time going forward to, balance all these three things. I think I had a healthy experience of a decade within the Nokia, and I got a chance to, work into the three to four business lines over there.
Names that you mentioned in terms of your inspirations, which I think our audience would love. Usually you hear about Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or super popular names, but a lot of unique names. Lot of Hey everyone, welcome to the Tech Banter. My name is Ankur. I am a tech professional based out of Seattle.
Hello, everyone. I'm Vishal. I'm a software engineer in one of the big tech companies, and I'm also based in Seattle. So, Ankur, we are in our 11th episode today. So what is the topic for today?
Yeah, today we are doing another edition of the Careers in Tech series. I think people responded really well. People loved it. So today we are talking to Sharad. Sharad has a very interesting tech career spanning almost 20 years. He's a program management leader working at OpenText, and he is based out of Bangalore, India. We are very excited to talk to Sharad and learn a lot more from him. So, without any further ado, let me add Sharad to the stream. Hey, Sharad, welcome to the Tech Banter.
Hello,
Hey,
Ankur. Hi,
hi,
Vishal.
Sharad. Welcome to the Tech Banter. By the way, you are our first guest from India.
So thanks for hosting me. I'm feeling great. So, getting a chance to represent India into the Tech Banter series. That's awesome.
Sure. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, I miss India a lot, by the way. I was there a couple of years back. I was in India, and yeah, really, I miss it. So cool.
We are we are definitely missing the mangoes.
Oh
Sharad,
Okay,
are you
yeah.
yeah,
enjoying the mangoes right
That's
now?
the season. Yeah, though it's ending, but yeah, we have varieties.
I
cool.
haven't visited India for almost 5 years. So November of this year is when I'm planning to go. So I'm very, very
Please do come.
excited for
Yeah,
that.
yeah. You're welcome. Yeah.
So Sharad, what we'll do is we'll like to start with you giving a quick introduction.
Well, yeah. So I'm basically, heading the program for the content services business, document and portfolio in OpenText, and I think I'm more passionate about the leadership, the team building, and also applying the strategic thinking to align to the business goal, right? So in addition to that, I also started, learning the agile and safe, and became a agile and safe practitioner. I hold my master's degree from IIM Code in marketing and strategy. And before joining OpenText, I was, working for Nokia, wherein I spent a decade there, and I was instrumental in driving the DevOps team, and also the driving the customer experience management using the data warehousing technologies, and implemented a safe framework for one of the businesses, right? With my 18 years of industry experience, I also love to work and lead the cross-functional global teams. In my personal space, I try to create the LinkedIn content, and getting and speaking in the public forum, and also what all I could do to empower every level in the society, right? So my association with Art of Living also happened a few years back, wherein I joined their personal excellence program in house, and I'm advocating the personal excellence for individuals, and then also joining some of the seminars and forums wherever I get an opportunity. So over to you, Ankur. This is a quick brief about myself.
Awesome.
Cool. Sharad, we are very excited to have you. As per our tradition, um, everyone brings a drink to the podcast. So let's start with you, Sharad, today. What are you having today on the podcast?
Yeah, I have some black tea, so I'm
Wow,
enjoying. It's the India morning time, so
cool.
Nice.
Um, Actually, I will go because even I am having black tea today.
What's that? Did you guys plan this one?
So cool. Let's see what Ankur has today.
Okay, I definitely don't have tea. I have.
Oh man,
Wow.
this is
So
This is
last week I had thumbs
amazing.
up, and this week I have limca. So I'm missing India a lot, and drinking some Indian soda is a good way to relieve my Indian experiences. So again, this is a very popular soft drink in India, and you can find that in any Indian grocery store near you. Maybe we can start with your career journey in the beginning. So if you could tell us, how did you get into tech? I think.
Sure. So I think I did my graduation in 2003, and then as you all know, right? So we faced the Y2K, and the crisis, and post that I think it was short of a recession time. But I was trying to figure out to get a job opportunity, and I happened to land into the CD Plan. It's one of the research institute in India, and so there basically it's pioneered in the sensor fabrication and the design aspect of it. So I joined in there as a research associate, and I got an opportunity to work on some sort of gas sensors, wherein we designed the sensor using some of the tools and techniques, and also so I was doing and I was enjoying, but again it was more of a research domain, and my liking was more towards the kind of the technology space and the software space, and I love to telecom software because I am from the electronics and communications stream. So it took me to the one of the startup companies which was incubated in IIT Chennai, that named as a NMS Work Software, right? So I joined them. It was a small company of 100 size, and in the initial days it was operating from IIT Chennai campus, and those were the years I think 2000, 5, 6, 7. 2008, with my experience and understanding, I got an opportunity to work in the Nokia Siemens. That's where my transition to Bangalore happened in 2008. Yeah,
So
so
where did you study, Sharat? You studied in UP.
yes, I studied in UP. So from the UP Technical University. So we had a state engineering college near Varanasi, my hometown.
Okay.
So I
Which
studied
is
from
like
the
in the northern part of India,
northern part of the India.
and you moved to
Right.
Chennai, which is like a southern
Yeah. So
state
this
in
was
India.
also kind of from the north to the complete remote south. But yeah, I think I was open to explore, and I was open to kind
Right.
of to establish myself and build myself, right? So yeah, so once I joined Nokia, I think I landed in their service management business line, and the team was pretty much in Finland, and we had expat manager who came down to India, and he was setting up the business and the product teams here. And I think those years were fantastic years. We had expat manager, we had a good budget, and we were having a lot of customer travels, but also a lot of learnings. We used to put a lot of effort. I do remember even coming back to the home in the evening hours. We used to connect to the laptop and look around the workpiece, and trying to work with the customers and so on. So I think we were putting a lot of effort to kind of shine ourselves and to achieve something, because those were the early career days, and all that resulted into some sort of transition, my liking towards the people leadership, and I got a little kind of blend of the customer project management as well in my initial years in the Nokia. So in 2011.
So before you talk about that, Sharad, I am actually curious about how was it working in Nokia, because I remember Nokia was always known for building extremely robust products. Now I'm talking about Nokia phones, right? Like
Yeah,
the first phone that most of us used was a Nokia 3310, or I don't know,
3315.
2210 or
Yeah,
something like that, right?
yeah,
Which had the snake game. And they were extremely robust phones. So like, can you tell us a little bit about how was it working at Nokia? What was the culture like? And maybe how was it working with a team in Finland? Which, like, we usually work with teams in US or UK, but like,
yeah.
how was it working with a Finnish company?
Yeah, so I think a very relevant question. So just before I open up on that topic, so Nokia had been awarded, many times as a most ethical company in the world, and think it has a journey. When I started my MBA program, in one of the papers I read their market cap and the success story. It was all fantastic. So joining the Nokia in 2008 was a big thing for me, and I was, as I mentioned, I was hired by expat manager who came down to Bangalore, and he was setting up the team that time. So we had an opportunity, and we were, I think, given a lot of autonomy and the empowerment to kind of to help to set up the business, and the team was growing. So we had a lot of counterparts that time into the Finland. There was a city Espoo, and I think we worked with them. There was not that much of lag with respect to the time zone, but we had a very healthy connect on the weekly basis. And what I started admiring was the kind of there the people side of it, right? So the usually, if you see in the Finnish culture, I think being humble and being very people centric is very important. You need to probably something which we learned into the Japanese framework of the kaizen and so on, right? Even I see a lot of reflection, humbleness, connecting to the people, high respect and regard to the people,
Hmm.
irrespective of what they do and whatever ladder they are. So I think I was getting a lot of kind of confidence day by day. And I think my cross functional team was no more kind of new to me. And one thing I found that they used to enjoy their personal life and the personal well-being time well as well. And they used to also educate us that if it is your personal time, you need to kind of live it thoroughly. You should not have the kind of changing mind when you start a vacation and stuff like that.
Sharad, you are very lucky because in the beginning of your career, you really got a good environment, good colleagues, probably good manager as well, right?
Yeah.
So I think this early career experience, it sets you for the career journey, right? So how was your experience when you landed in the management role?
Yeah, well, so yeah, that's what I was telling. So even in my initial years at Nokia, I was playing the role of a specialist, mostly around the solutioning and the customer aspect of it. But I did get a chance, which I took up, additionally, to kind of, look at, some of the specific customers and do sort of customer project management piece of work. So that all brought me a confidence, and also the team recognized it. My manager recognized it, and I think all those confidence were working for me, and I had liking towards some of the people aspect. And that's when in 2011, Vishal, I got an opportunity, which was the internal job movement. And then I was interviewed by another business head, and then I was asked that, why don't you run the DevOps team for us? So that team was also kind of very dynamic and a very diverse team. But I think, yeah, that time I had almost 8 years of industry experience, but I was fortunate. And I did kind of give any second thought, because I was aspiring about building up my leadership skill. The leadership is something which I think embrace, and I think it's very close to my heart. I really wanted to become a leader, if I'm not today, right? So yeah, I just open heartedly accepted that role, and that also kind of, in a way, put a career journey forward for me. And I had a lot of learning in those initial years, but I was blessed with a very dynamic and very diverse team of 15 plus members. And the experience was ranging from 3 to 4 years to even 12 years. So, and then a lot of learning, working with the team, being available for each other, and kind of practicing some of the people skills, establishing the regular connect, being connected to the team when they need you. And I think those were the lessons which I was kind of testing, and trying to kind of establish in my career, Vishal.
So did you got the opportunity for management? Like, d- do you have to take any extra education or courses, or what was the criteria that you showed that you are capable for leading a team?
Yeah, so I think you kind of got the right spot. So what I would say is that that was the time also. In fact, I had almost 7 years of industry experience. I was figuring it out how I can kind of scale up my career down the line, let's say for a decade. And I felt based on my choices and my capabilities that I wanted to position towards the leadership roles. And I started figuring it out some of the MBA programs. So one of the challenge was that to to quit the job and then move on. And I was married that time, so I decided to pursue the executive MBA program. So I was in hunting mode, and I was putting up my forms to the IMB, IMK, and many other known IMs, wherein I was aspiring to have some sort of executive education. So finally, I got an offer from the IM Cody Code, which was 2-year executive program, which was also the Association of MBA certified. So I think that was also one of the kind of points which I showcased when I applied for the next job within the Nokia, and I had a good sound academic standing in a background until graduation. So I think connecting those was also giving a kind of confidence to the management team that I can live up to their expectation, Vishal. So that's how it started.
So for our listeners, just like a quick background on IIM, is basically IIMs are basically Indian Institute of Management, and they are like a bunch of premier management institutes or schools in India, very similar to Indian Institute of Technology (IITs) that a lot of you might know. So you did the executive MBA, Sharad. So that I'm guessing it is like while working, you also pursued your management schooling, and you had to balance both of this together. So tell us about how is that? I'm sure like management from IIM Cozy Code is quite intense, and then you have a full time job that you have to do as well. How did you, and you probably had family as well at that time. So how
Yeah.
did you manage all these three, balance all these three together? What were the challenges that you faced?
Well, Ankur, yeah, thanks for asking this. And I think I must say the first word, it was really hard nut to crack. And I was, getting into the MBA program way back in 2011 in October month when I joined the induction program, and I was very excited. But at the same time, I had a very kind of, tough time going forward to, balance all these three things. And I didn't had a kid that time, but I was married and I had some sort of obligation toward my family and the family time and so on. So so yeah, the I am Cody Code. I think the structure was very methodical. It was close to full time MBA. And the full time MBA usually results into 920 hours of program delivery.
Hmm.
Vis-a-vis I am Cody Code executive program was 870 hours of program delivery with many credits involved, right? So we had every quarter trimesters, and we had written exams. We had a lot of case studies, and we have a lot of quizzes. And all this was also kind of coming into the weekdays, especially Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So 3 days a week, you have to have the commitment to be in the class for 3 hours. And once you are back, post your dinner and so on, you also have to undergo a very exhaustive case study, be it a Starbucks coffee, which I loved reading. So what I'm trying to say is that it was very extensive, and it was also taking a toll on my health
Hmm.
later on. But the only thing was that I told myself that this is the course, and I cannot just superficially touch it and move on. It's not something wherein I am just trying to get a piece of certificate. For me, the value would be when I really get into the kind of logic and philosophy and the knowledge piece which has been written probably many. So I think, yeah, those were the fascinating days looking at the port of five forces, doing some case studies, and we had a lot of like-minded group of colleagues and folks, some from Cisco, some from other good positions in the corporate. So we had a very interesting, diverse group wherein we do the case studies and group project works. That was also giving a lot of energy. And even back to home, my wife was very supportive, and I think because of her only, I could do it, and I could secure almost 27th rank out of the 320 batch, which also resulted into the dean's academic list, right? But yeah, it's a support from everybody, and also from the Nokia. My team members were knowing it, but I
Hmm.
used to travel, far from my office to the location. But yeah, it was a fun learning exercise, and I also kind of experience my potential, that how much you can really go and kind of see what you can try to
What
absorb.
was
And
what was your
yeah,
biggest takeaway from the executive MBA program? Was it the network that you gained, or was it in the curriculum of the executive MBA? What was your biggest takeaway?
I think takeaways definitely is not one. There could be few at least. I just wanted to name a few here. So the first one is what the kind of the business perspective which you get, right. It's not that easy when you connect the kind of the HR side of it, the organizational behavior, the strategy side of it, the
Hmm.
marketing side of it, the operations side of it.
Hmm.
So all this is needed for you to really get into the business dynamics and understand from the business, which probably the top executive leaders are trying to move around in any company, in any given company. So that is something which I really like, because that thought process, the kind of the way you can really elevate and think, that is something which came from the MBA program, I would say. Secondly, I think the network is really worthy, and I think it's a net worth also network,
Hmm.
that way, right. So you, as I said, so my batch is starting 5 years of experience to 25 years of experience. So usually IMK, they publish the kind of the geography, and then the diversity and experience numbers. So 5 to 25 years was big range, and I had a chance to meet many of those students who had a lot of industries of experience, and I could learn from them very easily. So networking was definitely the second one.
Awesome. So tell us about your new manager experience, right? So first time you become a manager. Tell us what were the challenges. I'm sure it is like there were things that you didn't know how to handle, and things came out of the left field. Probably you had to deal with a lot of unknowns. So tell us, like, what were those days like, and if you have any tips for people who are becoming new managers for the first time.
Sure, Ankur. Yeah, this topic is also close to me. Yeah. So I think that those were the times when I was also trying to learn my MBA, the program in a very structured way, and also parallelly I started up with the team, and we had many kind of format and the structures within the company to also learn and harness the right skill which is needed for the people leadership roles, right. So I just picked up the team wholeheartedly, and I was very young and dynamic, and I was fortunate. So my team was quite diverse, and that's something like cherry on the cake. So you get a lot of diverse ideas and all. So I started approaching the things in a very kind of one team way. Started bringing that kind of anchor as a one team, and even I think some of the practices on the meeting schedule, right. So I started establishing that, be it a one-on-one, be it a monthly staff meeting. So, and I think couple of things what I tried was also helping, so at least going with one sort of a small snippet or video in those monthly calls, wherein you can kind of bring the one team or the team quotient out of the team members, right. So showcasing some of the videos. So this is something which I was also learning from other top leaders in Nokia. So I closely saw that whenever they are doing their all hands in the big, kind of big
Okay.
setup, they used to open up the crowd. You need to open up the crowd. So I used to figure it out that how I can open up my 15 members team so that they tell me what they wanted to do and what are their challenges. So these were the sort of levers and the mechanism wherein I was trying to ignite my team, and to get into their real
Hmm.
realization that what they're supposed to do as a team, and what is the need of the hour which business expects from us, and tapping into the one-on-one daily, sorry, the weekly or the bi-weekly one-on-ones,
Yeah.
doing some sort of data around that and to work on that so that you can go back and work on that. But even though we had challenges because I picked up the newly on this role, and I think there are some people dynamics, there were some conflicts happening. So to name a few, probably the one was the conflict management, right? So if it happens between two experienced professional, it is challenging. And of late, I realized that the early you tackle the challenges, the conflicts, it is better because it's an early stage. You have better room and the opportunity to fix it. But I started kind of bringing those colleagues together, trying to find out the common ground, or else backed up with some data and the reasoning, and trying to kind of set the things for the better for both of us and for the team. So the team management and the conflict was one thing which was challenged, but also what I used to do is that I used to go back and reflect on some of the Nokia portal videos, or else some of the trainings recently which I undertook, or else even my organizational behavior slide decks which my prof told me and talked about in one of the lectures. What can I take out from those academic lessons and try to implement something in my actual life, right? So the conflict management was key, and the second one was also how to keep the team engaged and motivated, right? So because this crowd is like it's a kind of quite young, and they will be influenced with other team members what they're doing. Somebody wants to work on the newer technologies, right? So we came up, so that was the time also when we started looking into the agile framework. And then we said that let's have some sort of a buffer staffing wherein we'll dedicate few hours in the Fridays, usually the quiet day in a week, and we'll try to do some sort of tech talk, or else some sort of innovation roundtable wherein there's a structure to it, and then teams will come prepared on those ideas and aspects, and we'll screen something, we'll go from there, right? So I used to encourage my team to do something out of the box apart from your daily day-to-day work, and I think that was also working because it was a big challenge that how to keep the team motivated.
So, Sharad, tell us, how did you change the job, and how did OpenText happen, right?
Well, so yeah, I think those were the 2019 year. I think before this pandemic crisis, right? So I think I had a healthy experience of a decade within the Nokia, and I got a chance to work into the 3 to 4 business lines over there, starting with the service management business line, wherein I played the role of a specialist. Moved on to the engineering management role into one of the businesses, OSS businesses, and then subsequently also worked on one of the platform R&D. And the last one was into the product management, into the release product management, into the Wi-Fi business, right? So I had a good sense of good sense of understanding and the feeling that I learned a lot in last decade, and what could be the potential next step for me. And the culture was known to me, and but at the same time I was contemplating that it should not happen so that in one culture you become so much so comfortable that you you don't fare well when you change your culture or any different settings, right? So I was trying to kind of look different ways of how to kind of build up more going forward. And that's when I felt that these 4 business lines, 10 years is a good, and I think probably there's a time for me to experience different cultures, different companies, the different philosophy, how do they operate, right? So those were the thoughts which are going in my mind. And also post my this the release product management role, I was figuring it out to take up the business which is bigger in size, right? So my engagement and my discussion with OpenText started. I think they had a position that time, and so we had kind of the big R&D here, which is 300 plus colleagues, and and the OpenText acquired basically a very flagship and leading product documentum portfolio. So that was also very attractive when I was getting interviewed. So I knew that that product is a market leader, the documentum, and I will get a chance to work on that. So these two things were exciting. Getting a chance to work in the documentum, and did my thorough kind of work and everything last decade at Nokia, and then what is the time for me to make a switch? So that's how I landed into the OpenText, Vishal. And post that, I think the journey has been good. There was some apprehension with respect to the culture and stuff like that, but I must say that OpenText being a Canadian company headquartered in Ontario, I think this is a great. I think I do not see any differences. The kind of work culture, the people philosophy, everything is awesome. And I think I'm fortunate that I switched the right one, right.
Cool. So I think when looking at your journey, right, I see that you have taken major steps. Like there was a struggle period. There was this switch from individual contributor to a management role, right? I want to ask you, are there any people in your life who play a major role in all these things?
So to start with, I think yeah, it's all about taking the energy, right? Or you can take energy directly or indirectly. People you with whom you work directly, or else even somebody is very distant and remote to you, but he probably could be your he or she could be your role model, right? So I and also I feel that the mentor is very important in anyone's career, and I think not only in career, in personal life also. If you're stuck, and then you have to have a mentor. Mentor is a big thing. So what I'm trying to do is that how can I get the kind of energy, and how can I look up to them, and try to inculcate their qualities, and try to balance myself in certain challenging situations, right? So to start with, I think my father, I must say, he is no more with me, but he was a professor. He studied from one of the renowned universities, Banaras Hindu universities, in the northern side of India. He did his graduation, masters, and post graduation from BH University, and he was a lifelong learner. And he used to encourage me, and also even when I was in my job, he used to ask me that you keep reading something, and build something on your skills, and don't let the learning in you go away, right? So be a lifelong learner. And I think he was a kind of all-rounder team player. He was brilliant in the cooking. He was brilliant into the taking care of the family. And I miss him a lot, but I have a lot of learning from my father, and I try to articulate and go along. Secondly, when I look at the some of the industry leaders, so I started looking at where you work first, right? So in Nokia, we had an opportunity to work with Rajiv Suri. He's an Indian origin CEO who also served for a decade to the Nokia, being one of the Indian origin CEOs, and he wrote the story of turnaround, and he was also honored with a execution specialist label, right? So we were burning kind of 1 million euro per day in certain years within the Nokia, but he turned it around the company. He traveled 100 plus geographies and customers, and then he brought the company back to the profitably. And whenever I look at the Rajiv's very kind of hard discussions with his leadership, there were some recordings which were available, and also some of his all hands and the town halls. It was very exciting. I was always used to be very eager and excited when Rajiv is visiting in person to Bangalore, right? And he was a very smart and very dynamic chap, and he used to do a lot of gym. A lot of energy I drew from Rajiv those days. Subsequently, he moved to Inmarsat, and he's still a role model for me. Secondly, I looked up to again the Mark Berencia. He's from OpenText. He's also a thought leader and the CEO and CTO for OpenText. You can learn a lot of things on how Mark look at the strategy. What is his vision? To see the things moving in the world in next coming phases, right? So I read his books, and he wrote one of the books, Versant, recently. So I think these are the personalities you can take a lot of energy. You can read through about the personal side of it, and what they are doing, how they are influencing the mass for the better value and cause. And the third one is probably my love also towards to connect to the spirituality and understand the life as a whole. Yeah. So So the Art of Living is one of the centers which is headed by Sri Ravi Shankar ji, and I joined some of the programs there. And basically his goal is to to see the world from the peace and harmony lens, right? So I try to connect there how you can get peace within yourself, first looking outside, how you can calm yourself, and then you definitely you can do much better. So yeah, so these are the couple of the people with whom I take directly or indirectly a lot of energy. But then you have the team, you can work with your team. You have a kid, you can learn to from your kid that how to be a childish, witty and eager and do some mischievous activity and keep the child in you alive. So all that works. I think that's something which is not so different for me also, but that's how I look at it, Vishal.
Cool. Yeah, thank you so much. And I think you framed it perfectly fine, right? Like there can be a family member who can be your role model. There can be other leaders you can follow and consider them as your role model. Cool. Thank you so much, Sharad.
My
Lot,
pleasure.
lot of unique names that you mentioned in terms of your inspirations, which I think our audience would love. Usually, you hear about Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or the
Yeah.
typical super popular names, but a lot of unique names, lot of names from India. So we are
Mhm.
going to leave links to these profiles and links to Art of Living as well, so that people can check out. So since you mentioned Art of Living, Sharad, tell us a little bit more about how you are dealing with work-life balance and preventing yourself from burnout and making sure that you have a good harmony between your work life and your family life, etc.
Yeah, so before coming to that, probably I'll give you a little background. So in 2016, somewhere, I think we had a corporate program on the personal excellence, which happened in house into the Art of Living International Center in Bangalore. And I got a chance to stay 2 days there, met with Shri Ravi Shankar Guruji, and I think that was also the quite phenomenal and very changing experience for me. However, when I look at the life, I think probably to me is that it's all about balance, right? So you need to create a recipe which is well balanced, right? It has to have the right amount of salt, it has to have right amount of the ingredient. It shouldn't be good much dry or much thin. So I think it's a balance. That's what we're trying to achieve out of this life, and it's experiential journey, right? We have to kind of embrace the experiences, could be the positive experience or the negative experience, but we have to learn from that and move to the next, to to uplift ourselves, to get to the betterment phase, right? So when I look at the life as a whole, I started thinking that why can't we make some sort of compartmentalization around this, some of the themes, basically some of the pillars, people can also call them, right? So first is your family, your family with from which you are strongly connected, and a lot of things which is coming, which is ingrained into yourself as a person. So your family is key. And the second one is that how you can look at your work, because you get into the corporate world, and then you need to kind of get some sort of validation or some sort of the kind of career journey wherein you feel uh, something appreciated for, and you achieve something for your own. Third one is your the hobby which you wanted to pursue, and then how can you connect with your health, because health is also a paramount on these days post COVID pandemic. We
Yeah,
started realizing the importance of health. And the last one is your financial health, right? So that you are well when you kind of retire, or when you are into the different phase of your life, right? So these four sections are compartments would help, and then you need to kind of have some plans to try to do something around it. When it is family, probably you can say that I'll spend some time with my family in the weekends, or else I go out with your family. How you can get the family quotient or the happiness unlocked from those belongingness and those linkages, right? So cooking for them, for example, I do that. I cook for my sometimes for my kids, and I feel a great amount of pleasure when I do that. So connecting with your family, you learn a lot. Again, that also gets utilized into any. On the health, I think this is very important. I think that also connects to the burnout and how you avoid the stress, Ankur. So I think the hobby is something. For example, if somebody is having the passion towards swimming or else towards running, walking, I think that's something which we need not to reinvent any specific health hobby. It is
Hmm.
part and part of that, right? So I started looking at that, what all hobbies I can do, which helps me to be fit, and that's working perfectly. So I started learning swimming. I'm not still there, but I'm learning freestyle swimming, and it's a fun, and I
Nice.
really feel relieved, and my health parameters are also good right now. So health and hobby, I feel that it's very much connected. And on the finance side, have some sort of understanding on the basic financial planning and all, how you should save for your future, how you should plan for your long-term responsibility for the kids' educations and so on. How can you yourself expose yourself to the market returns in moderation. Again, in moderation, you're not here to make a lot of
Hmm.
um, kind of big thing, but yeah, in moderation, which results into a balanced life, so that you don't go to the extreme of either side, right? So I think all these four compartment which I'm talking is something worth looking at it, strategize around it, and I think go slow, be in peace and harmony with yourself. Try to find out your inner self, but still the burnout is kind of is going to happen, because we are into very fast and fluid life, and the overall social structure. So that is inevitable, but I think there are ways we can still kind of bring a peace and harmony, and then learn
Nice.
something which works for us, right? Yeah.
Nice.
I completely agree with your compartmentalization and having a balance.
Since you are a leader in program management, I also wanted to ask you, what advice do you have for folks who want to get into program management? How should they get started?
Sure thing. I think first thing first, I think yeah, they need to start looking at, because the program is also a collection of projects, and also first they need to understand what is the kind of value add as a program manager or a project manager they can bring on the table. So it will involve multiple skills and characteristic, but that will happen over a period of time. But they need to understand that they need to kind of work with a very diverse and very cross functional team, right? And that means that they need many different skills. It cannot be only the pure tech skill, but at the same time, once they are interworking with the business leaders, it's a business for sure. And when they're interworking with the support side of it, it's a support. So they need to kind of embrace and appreciate the business as a whole, and how the entire life cycle happens when the company goes and monetize in the marketplace, right? So if that is the kind of choice and the like, probably that's the right spot for them. They need to be ready to work with a cross-functional team, connecting to the people. And I think I always wanted to emphasize and stress on the people skill, right? And this would be most important, the kind of skills what every program manager has to look at it, right? So being a good communicator, you need to communicate well, and you need to have very thorough people skill, wherein you can really come out of any challenging situations and scenarios, and still you kind of deal with the people, and trying to get the bigger goal or the value add possible, right? Because there will be people with different influence on those programs and the projects, right? So we need to navigate through as a program manager. That's when I'm talking about the people skill, or else the being a very a good communicator, right? So and then you also comprehend well, so that or you can articulate everything as is. And uh, and definitely, I think if you look at the project management methodology, or else from the program point of view, you need to be on top of many moving pieces. So when I say on top of many moving pieces, when the entire machinery or the system gets started, it gets started, and then you don't have time to stop it, because you are into the production. So what you can do is that you need to pre-plan. So the planning aspect is very crucial. When you look at the system as a whole, and do all sorts of planning, looking at every nook and corner, even the small minute detail, you look at it and you kind of reflect that, yeah, this is what I'm going to kind of do with that particular variable, right? So the planning, the very robust planning, and being on top of it means being into very kind of good into the monitoring and controlling. Definitely you'll use a lot of processes. You need to start being very analytical and and very thoughtful into looking at the process as a whole. See that what exactly the tangible value it will deliver at the end. What all the kind of the kind of handovers which are happening, right? So look at all these, those are the very important acumens. Risks is something which I see that many program managers face more than ever. I think because the risk is inevitable in those agile worlds, right? So being if you could anticipate the risk considering the current scheme of thing, or else using the secondary data, right? So there is something I wanted to stress. I think it's always good to look at the past projects, have some inference out from there, and then try to use it, because I think this is something I started also practicing. I'm not there yet, but can you reuse, right? So there are things which are already done in the past. No need to reinvent from the fresh, from the scratch. Reuse it as much as, even if you look at and the agile methodology, the principles, it says that reuse it. So you reuse the secondary data which is present, try to anticipate the risks, and and flag it out. I think it's very important, because the business is sitting on the customer commitments, on the business value in terms of dollars and euros. So you need to be cognizant of the fact that the risk should not be a showstopper. It should not dent the overall revenue stream and so on. So risk management is very crucial from the program management point of view. But I think, yeah, these are the skills which would help to to get into the all-rounder program manager, Ankur.
Right. How do you keep yourself up to date? Are there any books, podcasts, articles, people that you follow that you would like to recommend to our audience?
Right. So I think couple of books, I think I talked about it, so which were recommended by our CEOs in the Nokia days, and also even OpenText days. So I'm still reading the Versant book, which talks about having a tribe, or else a team, a set of gamers who are going to 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 kind of win out of the particular game, right? So
Okay.
secondly, the Good to Great, which I think Rajiv recommended many years back. It's
Hmm.
a fantastic book. And I think, yeah, I started getting into the public speaking, and I think recently I met with the PMI Germany folks, wherein I talked about the artificial intelligence and I think influence of that into the project management. So as a prep work, I picked up some courses from Great Lakes Learning. You can go to the Udemy and many places, right?
What is PMI?
It's the PMI Germany. It's a project management institute.
Okay,
So it's a global body which is coming from the project management professionals.
got it.
So many geographies they do some sort of chapters. So I'm connected with them. So I learn a lot of operational execution excellence and those kind of value adds. And I
Okay.
think I got eventually a very strong set of people in my MBA days. My
Hmm.
couple of my friends, so I'm well connected with them. They're doing different things in their life, and in different industries. So I understand what they're doing, how they're approaching the next set of challenges in their life, be it in a corporate world or else in personal life. We
Right.
exchange a lot of information. I have some of the colleagues and friends wherein they are very sharp on the financial planning aspects. I love to talk to them. So I have created the kind of small, as I said again, a compartmentalization, right? So I have the people who are the kind of anchors to look up to them, and that's what I said. The having a mentor is very important, and
Yeah.
you can derive a lot from them. And it doesn't. It just sounds like a small word, mentor. But in
No.
Nokia days, I had a mentor, and I still feel that
Yeah.
having two to three very all-rounder mentor would help you to sail through the life and be successful in what you do.
Yeah. Those are good recommendations and great advice of having a mentor.
You are a LinkedIn creator, right?
Yeah.
Can you share something what you do? What is the scope of work over there, and how are you approaching that?
Yeah, so I think I started, I think the
Okay.
social media, you cannot, ignore it, right? So, and I read many articles, how, LinkedIn as a community is going to, help the businesses, even
Mhm.
the small and medium enterprise scale businesses, right? So I think that's when I was trying to figure it out, the power of LinkedIn, and I started believing the power of LinkedIn. and the reach it has, which is enormous. And one evening I was sitting and I read some article, and then I was able to connect to the professor in the very different continent and remote in the world, and I got some good advice. So I embraced it. I said, yeah, this is fantastic. That's the power of LinkedIn networking. So that's how I think it's a journey. I'm just still starting up, but it's a journey, Vishal. So I look at that, still again, the belief is that how you can bring out the learnings
Mhm.
out to the world, and you can inspire and trigger something in the people, like-minded people, so that they will contribute towards the society or the anything what they do, right? So I think that's the attempt. I look at it from more a bigger picture point of view, wherein you can create a community
Mhm.
and be an anchor in that community to mobilize the crowd or the community for a better cause, right? So being doing some sort of NGOs or doing some sort of social cause related work, right? So that's the thought process which is there in my mind, but it's just a very nascent state.
All right, cool. Thank you so much, Sharad. It was amazing going through your career journey, getting awesome advice from you for all the new coming PMs. We wish you all the best for your journey in LinkedIn creator world and your future career goals. We will definitely leave Sharad's LinkedIn profile in the description so that if you want to connect with him, feel free to connect. With that, I think it's time to see off.
Thanks,
Thank you,
thanks,
Sharad.
Ankur. Thanks, Vishal.
All right, guys. So this is the month of June, and you all are aware that we are playing this fantasy stock picking game. Quickly about the rules of the game, just to recap. So every month we are getting $10,000 worth of notional money, and we are free to invest that money into any stock or ETF. And then throughout the month, you cannot transact in those stock, and then we basically track whether we are making profit or loss, and then we are declaring a winner by end of the month, whoever has made more profit, right? So in the month of June, both Vishal and I picked up a few stocks. For example, if you can, as you can see here, I picked up Apple, Meta, Nvidia, Airbnb, and Costco, and I made a total gain of $730 in my investment of $10,000. So now that $10,000 is worth $10,730, and in Vishal's case, Vishal invested in AMD, Nvidia, ETF QQQ, and Apple, and he made a gain of $546. So both of us made a pretty good gain, and uh, but my gain was approximately $200 more than Vishal. So I am the winner.
Yes, congratulations, Ankur. You are the winner for month of June for fantasy stock pick, and this calls
Thank you.
for a treat from you.
My treat will also be with notional money.
Notional
So
money. Okay.
notional pizzas.
Yes,
uh,
but to be honest, just to give a quick summary on your picks, I
yeah,
think the pick of Airbnb and Meta, they made a
yeah,
huge difference in your portfolio, and I think congratulations on that. So I think you will carry forward $730 with you for the next month, and
yeah,
I will also carry forward $546 with me for the next month. So
yeah.
our limit of 10,000 will increase by that much profit that we made, and we will love to share what we have picked for the month of June today.
Yeah. So just to reiterate, $730 is approximately 7% return, monthly return. So that's like almost like a 90% annualized return. And in your case, you have a 5% return, so almost like a 60% annualized return, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Obviously, we got benefited by the market going up.
Yeah.
But anyways, like we made, I think both of us made good picks. And so what we are doing for the month of July is we are going to start with like our initial $10,000 plus the profit that we made, and then in July we can again purchase any stocks or ETF of our liking. Obviously, with the 4th of July holiday weekend, we could not do it at the beginning of the month, so we made our picks today, so which is 6th of July. So all our purchase cost will be uh, with respect to the price today, right? End of like closing of day today. All right. So now we are going to show you the picks for month of July for each of us. Let's start with Vishal. Your picks. You can explain all the picks that you made.
Yeah. So for month of July, I am following a different strategy because my last month strategy backfired on me, and I lost the game. So this time I am picking 10 stocks, not five. And these are the stocks which might be very volatile this month. So there is a huge chance that I will either lose a lot of money or maybe I will gain a lot of, right? So the play that I'm doing this month is either it will be a huge win or I will be losing a lot of money. So my picks are Tesla, Netflix, Snowflake, Apple, Shopify, Amazon, JP Morgan, Home Depot. And then I have two ETFs, which is for a bank ETF. It is KBE, and one is a cloud ETF. So all these 10 stocks are almost average, uh, cost around like $1,000. So yeah, I have I had a limit of 10,546, and I think I used mostly all of it. Just I think $15 are remaining. So
Nice. I
yeah.
like most of your picks.
So Ankur, what are your picks for month of July?
Yeah. So you went from 4 picks to 10 picks, and I went from 5 picks to 4 picks. So
Okay.
I am keeping it simple. So I'm sticking with Apple and Meta,
Hmm.
and but I'm reducing the total investment that I had in Apple, and I am putting a lot of money in Meta, and then I'm also investing in Netflix. I think you also had Netflix, and then the last one is Domino's Pizza. uh, the
Amazing.
rash and I am obviously starting with $10,730. 730 is the profit that I made from last month, and I'm going heavy on Meta and Netflix. Meta, because I think the stock is in a lot of good momentum. So they are focusing on a lot of efficiency, and I think the market is rewarding that. I also saw that they launched Threads, which is a competitor to Twitter product, and already in like the first 7 hours they have 10 million signups on the platform. So seems like it will be a successful platform for Meta. So overall, I'm like going betting heavy on Mark Zuckerberg,
Yeah.
and then Netflix. I think Netflix is again focusing on a lot of profitability. Like they are cracking down on password sharing, focusing on doing more profitable content. So I think Netflix could lead to good reward. They also have results this month, I believe. So I'm expecting that the results would beat expectation, and the stock will that would be reflected in the stock. And Domino's Pizza, I don't know. I am a customer of Domino's Pizza. I am I'm largely hoping that whatever I invest does not go down. So it's kind of like, instead of putting the money in cash, I'm just like putting it in Domino's share. So yeah, I think this month I am taking a little bit more risk compared to last month, and let's see how it.
Yeah, I think it is going to be fun what doing
Yeah,
this game this month because we have two different philosophies. One
yeah,
is going trying. I was trying to be honest, diversify, right?
yeah,
And you see, right, when a person loses a game, his mentality changes to diversify, and when someone wins a game, he tries to concentrate on those picks. Those were the winners for him.
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, this is fun. I'm super excited and hoping to have a really good, fun July stock picking month.
Yeah, even for you, Vishal, I think lot of the companies will be announcing its earnings quarterly results this month. I think
Okay.
almost all, uh, except for the ETFs. But the
Okay.
ETFs, if the bank
ETFs.
ETF, most of the
Yeah.
banks are going to announce their results like within the next 2 weeks, right?
Okay.
So if the results are largely positive, you will see a positive uptick. So this will be an
And if
exciting one with
they are,
all the
and if
earnings
they are
coming out.
missing, if they are missing on the earnings, you will see a lot of red in that.
Yeah, so there is
So
a chance of a lot of swings, right? Which is,
yes, yes,
you might be having a lot of profit or a lot of loss, but with
yes.
some good results, the tables can turn. So
Let's
that's
see.
what we like, right? Close competition. So
That's the
excited.
fun part. Yeah, that's the fun part. Cool. With that, it's time to say bye to everyone
Yeah,
and hope you are liking our fantasy stock pick. We are enjoying it, to be honest. Uh, yeah. So
yeah,
if you want to follow along, we publish this on our website, www.thetechbanter.com.
yeah. Please go check our website, and if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and give us a like. And if you are listening it on any podcast platform, follow us. The support is always super helpful. And that's all. Thank
Cool.
you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you, everyone. Bye.